What's going on, my babies? Welcome back to another episode of The Spiritual Word. As always, before I start, I like to start these off with a disclaimer by stating that these are for entertainment purposes only. Always do your own research to come to your own conclusions, to make your own decisions, to have your own answers, and I believe in your ability to be your own person. And I like to start these off by saying that I apologize for any noises in the background in advance, and anything of that nature. So in today's episode, I'm going to be doing an update on my 30-day challenge. As I said before, I'll be doing these once a week, and I figured that I'd do it on Friday since I started on Monday. I'd give you an update on Friday, and next week I'll probably give another update next Friday. And I think I'll keep doing that until this month ends. And the last week of January is obviously like my mental health break for making these episodes, and it's just like a break for me to kind of regenerate. And so that last week I won't give you an update, but the next week on February the 1st, or whatever day Monday falls on, I will be giving you an update then. So there's been a few experiences where I kind of like stumble, and when I say stumble, I don't mean like I was like dreading and like hating and being like absolute out of positivity. Like there was never really a moment when I stepped out of positivity even for like more than like 5 minutes, but there was times where I stumbled and I caught myself like immediately. So I'm really grateful for catching myself immediately. But basically, I'm gonna go through Monday through basically till today. So Monday I started off really strong. I had worked out that day. I had gone for a walk, and then I had felt really good about doing everything that I had to do. Like I finished a whole book in one day because I was feeling that motivated. And then I started a book the same day. And then Tuesday I didn't really get good sleep. Like I was tossing and turning all of like Monday night. And I take sleeping pills to help me go to sleep. So I took one of those pills, and it helps me go to sleep, but it doesn't help me fall asleep. So I took a pill, went to sleep, and then I woke up at like 3, and then I woke up at 5, and then I woke up at 7, and then finally I was like, okay, I'm not gonna be able to go to sleep. I might as well just get up. And then Tuesday, because I didn't get good sleep, I was not feeling like refreshed enough to go for, you know, like I have like this little workout routine that I have set in place for myself, and I did not want to do the squats that day. Like it was lower body, and all I have to do is like Superman planks, like a rep of like 30 of those for as long as I can hold them. Or I think it's like 15 for as long as I can hold them. And I just couldn't do that. Like I couldn't get myself to do that. I did not feel motivated enough to work out fully. So instead of just doing that, I went for a jog, and I actually, was jogging for a little bit. And then the feeling of that day, I still felt pretty positive because I was doing the things that I still had to do. Like I didn't feel well enough to work out, but I still kind of like got myself to work out in some way, shape, and form, even if that was just jogging and working on my lower body. And then that same day, I obviously do the podcast daily. At least right now, I'm doing the podcast daily. So I did my jog, and then I did my podcast. And then when I did the podcast, I was like, okay, cool. Like I did everything that I need to do. I feel good. Like I'm doing all this shit. And then I went home, and then I cleaned, and I helped basically like do chores. And I felt good that I was doing the chores. I felt really responsible. And so it was overall a really positive day for me. So Monday and Tuesday were overall positive, like continuously, pretty consistently. Except for when I had to go to sleep, just because that's where I have the most trouble. Like I can't get myself to fall asleep and stay asleep. Like if I can get myself to fall asleep, I can't stay asleep. And if I can get myself to stay asleep, then it takes me a long time to fall asleep. And then Wednesday, same thing that happened on Monday. Tuesday night, I was tossing and turning and tossing and turning and tossing and turning. I could not get to sleep. Like, I could not. And I decided to take melatonin before I went to sleep because I was like, okay, I'm out of these sleeping pills, so let me try melatonin. And then the melatonin, it made me tired, but it wasn't like. There's a difference between being tired and having your mind like shut off. And because I think really fast, it's hard for me to get my mind to shut up. and to slow down enough for me to be able to fall asleep. And so I was tossing and turning all night. Like, I kid you not. I didn't fall asleep until like 5 in the morning or like 6 in the morning. And then once 6 hit, I went to sleep and I woke up at 10. And then I was like, nah, I'm not gonna be able to function off 4 hours of sleep. I need to get sleep just a little bit more. And then I woke up at 12 and I was like, okay. Although my day is starting off a little bit later than normal, well, I say later than normal for that week because 7, I woke up at 7. And so, it felt weird to me. And because I want to be doing things a little bit earlier. So I was like, okay, it doesn't matter. And I got up and I did a workout. And then I went for a walk. And I didn't jog, but I wanted a place of like grounding. Or no, I don't think I walked that day just because it was really cold. I think I'm confusing my days. I don't think I went for a walk that day. I apologize. So then I came in here and I recorded an episode, and I had done my little workout routine already in my house. Like, I did arms and upper body, which means core, that day. So I actually did like a full workout like routine for myself. So I did that, and then I showered, and then I came out here and I did an episode. And the showers usually help me ground, so that's how I know I didn't go on a walk that day. And because it was kind of cold. So I finished everything that I had to do, and I decided that I was going to just kind of like give myself the rest of the day to relax, because I needed a way for my mind to kind of like slow down. And sometimes that takes me a little bit of a process, like, okay, let's just do this, or let's watch videos, or let's do something that gets my mind off of what I have to do on a consistent basis. And then Thursday, aka yesterday, I slept like a baby, which was absolutely fantastic for me. And overall, Wednesday, positive. Like, I didn't, like, normally my when I fall off of things, it'll be like a really noticeable thing. Like, I'll go off on somebody, or like I'll just be like, oh, fuck this, fuck that, like, fuck everything. But this whole week I haven't done that. And there was some instances that I did remember to like remain in that positive energy. Like, I was watching videos, and then when I was like, oh, okay, trying to understand these videos, I wasn't getting super frustrated if I wasn't getting the information. And then the other day, I think it was yesterday, I went to go hang out with my mom, and she was watching the show, and the show was pissing her off. And it was like I could feel her irritation coming off of her. And it was kind of making me laugh a little bit, because I was like, the fact that I can feel your physical irritation is kind of trippy to me. And it's very interesting that, like, that's happening. And it made me laugh because I was like, you're getting mad over a show. And then it put me into perspective of my shit, and I was like, I get mad over video games. What am I tripping about? And so yesterday, I was playing video games with 2 of my friends, and they're not the greatest at video games, and I'm decent. Like, I can keep a steady pace. Like, I'm not absolute dog dookie, but I'm probably like just a little bit above average. Like, if average was right here, I'd be like right here. Like, that's not a noticeable difference, but it's still a difference. So I'm decently good at pretty much any video games that we play, except for like GTA. I don't know why I'm not really good at GTA, but not the point. We're playing shooter games, and I'm really good at shooter games. Like, shooter games are my shit. So we're playing, and they're not the greatest, so we were losing like the majority of the time. And I think it's funny because, like, instead of being annoyed at the situation, like, oh, we're losing, I was just sitting there enjoying my time with these people instead of like dogging on them for being absolutely trash. And normally I'd be like, oh my gosh, like, you guys are trash, like, I'm never playing with you guys again. And I'm really dramatic in the sense that, like, I want to be doing good if I'm playing with my friends, or I want like everybody to be doing good if we're playing together. And we were all getting frustrated at the situation because we're like, oh fuck, I can't do anything. And I can't do anything if my teammates can't do anything, which is why it frustrates me on another level. And I'm like, I'm gonna go talk shit to this kid in game chat. And usually there's 4 people on a team when I'm playing Rogue Company. I don't know if you know that game, but it's 4 people on a team if you're playing this specific game mode. And I was playing with 2 other people, so it was just a party of 3, and we had one random person who was playing online. I go into game chat because they're like, I'm gonna go talk shit to this person, and I'm like, okay, do it. And nobody was doing it, so I was like, okay, fuck you guys, I'm gonna go do it myself. And I go into game chat, and I'm like, the person's name, like, on the video game was Chrissy. And I was like, Chrissy, you fucking suck. And I wasn't really, like, mad. I was just kind of, like, teasing this person. And I was like, Chrissy, you're supposed to be holding it down for us, and you're not holding it down for us. What's going on? Are you having a bad day? Tell me, like, just let it go. Let it off your chest. Tell me what you need. Like, I will support you. I will help you. Tell me what you need. And, carry us to victory, because obviously we ain't gonna be able to do shit. And then they came into game chat, and they're like, Chrissy, you fucking suck. You're supposed to be holding us down. And blah, blah, blah. Like, we're just basically, like, teasing this person. And then the last round of the game, there's 3 rounds for, like, each team plays 3 rounds. So total of the game could be, like, 5 rounds, because this team won 2 rounds and this team won 2 rounds, and you need 3 rounds to win. And so we were in the last round, and we were 2-2. Like, we had won twice, they had won twice, and we're like, okay, we're really close to beating them. Let's see if we can do this. And then the last round, Chrissy's the last person alive, and so we're like, oh my god, Chrissy, you better not what is it called? You better not what's the word? You better not fumble this. I don't know. It's not fumble this. You better not fuck this up. I don't know what it is. There's a word for it. Or, oh, okay, you better not choke. We're all just sitting there and just giving this kid a bunch of shit. We're like, you better not choke. Like, don't choke. You're supposed to be holding us down. You better not suck. And then we end up losing. And the person that we're, like, teasing finally turns their mic on, and the person's like, shut the fuck up, you guys suck, this and that. But, like, that kid was teasing us. Like, you could tell that there was no animosity, and we were just being kids, and this person was just being a kid too. And it turns out that Chrissy is a guy, and we're like, Chrissy, we thought you were a girl, my fault, my fault. And he joins the game chat, and he's like, you guys fucking suck, you guys were not helping me for shit, you guys need to shut the fuck up. And it was really, like, a playful energy to be in. And I think that was, like, a whole translation of what I needed to be doing this whole time. Like, what I needed to kind of fall into the habit of, like, being playful and just playing around with these people, and, like, playing around with life. Because at the end of the day, yeah, there's, life is serious, and it's, like, if you're a person directed for the people, you're gonna take life really, really seriously. And I've been taking life way too fucking seriously, because I want to succeed in life and I want to do good in life. But at the end of the day, I don't know what my future is gonna look like. You know what I mean? Like, I can only play by ear. I can do my best, and my best is gonna be good enough. So just have fun with it. And that was the theme that I was missing. Like, I was trying way too hard at everything, and it was why I was struggling in so many areas of my life. And I finally kind of, like, realized that in that moment when we were all talking shit to this random person on a video game. You know what I mean? Like, life is not that serious, and I feel like you get the best insight, you get the best information when you're not looking for that information, and when you're just living your life, and when you don't care about the rights and the wrongs of things, and when you're not really caring about all these things that people do care about. And the other day, I think it was yesterday, when I posted this video on, like, how to not care about people's opinions. And it was, I was talking about one of the things that had happened to me in my life, and how I got myself to, like, realize that shit's not that serious. I was sitting there, and I was damn, I just lost my train of thought. I was sitting there, and I was talking about how this one person was talking mad shit about me, and how, like, it's just their pain, blah blah blah. And then in that moment of me, like, talking about those things, I was like, I was taking this too seriously, and I was taking those people too seriously. Like, the people that I look up to, they're just people. You know what I mean? Like, the people that I put on pedestals, the people that I look up to, the people that are famous, the people that are rich, the people who have these college degrees that I wish I had, they still fuck up. Like, they still have human flaws. They still, I don't know, struggle with emotions, or they still struggle with their kids, or they still struggle with finances, or they struggle with something in their life. And I think that my own trauma was like pushing out this idea that I need to have everything in check because my parents didn't have shit in check. So I need to have my shit in check, because if I want to bring other people into this world, which honestly don't want kids, but like, if I want to be a good influence to other people, I need to have my shit in check so that they see me and they're inspired by me. But reality of the situation is that, like, I'm not Superman. I'm not Superwoman. I am not a superhero. Although I want to be these people's role models and I want to be these heroes for these individuals, I can't put that much pressure on myself to be perfect, because the world is not perfect. And I have to be okay with all those things. And a part of me was really not okay with that. Like, a part of me was really not okay with just settling for what it is and settling for less than what I am, because I have really high expectations of myself. But I also need to let that go, because I am just a human. And we're all in this fucked up shit together. And the best thing that I can do is just support another person by telling them my life experience. Because maybe if I think that, life is this serious, maybe you think life is that serious, and that's why you ended up here. And anyways, basically, moral of the story is I had a really huge epiphany yesterday when I was playing video games with my friends. And it's not to not care about life in the overarching theme that you just don't give a shit, you don't try. But it's like, try, but don't try too hard, you know? And try to the extent that you're willing to try at. Because most people are just doing what they want to do. And another thing that I realized is that, like, I realized this a long time ago, but it's something that keeps coming back to me. The world uses love as a fuel. What you love to do, you're going to pursue that. If you say, well, I love money, then you will pursue a career that makes you a lot of money. If you love, to help people heal their wounds, then you go into like nursing or being a doctor or being a surgeon or blah, blah, blah. Like, whatever impacts you enough out of love to do something, you're going to follow that instinct. If you love or don't know what you love, then most likely you're going to test all of the different waters and then see which one fits your temperature. And so, knowing that love runs this world and being in this positive state has really put my mind into perspective of, like, I love to do this, and this is why I do this, and I don't need to be tripping on anything right now because I have my whole life ahead of me. And although there's people who are way farther than I am at my age, I don't need to be comparing myself to them because they have their own life, they've made their own decisions. Like, I know a lot of people who have kids and they're like, you don't want kids? I'm like, fuck no. Like, I'm a piece of shit. I don't want kids. And they're like, why? Why don't you want kids? I'm like, first of all, that's a lot of responsibility. Second of all, like, that's a whole nother human being. Like, you guys don't understand that they're not there for your comfort. They're not there for your support. You're there for their support. It's like, if I go to a boss and I'm like, I really want to work here. I really want to work here. Please let me work here. Employ me, please. And they're like, okay, but you work for me. That's what a kid is. It's basically your boss. And if you don't do everything the way that they want it done, then you actually create trauma to them because they're like, oh, is that serious? So, one, I'm not trying to give my kids trauma by not, being able to teach them properly or be able to, like, love them properly or, like, love them the way that they want to be loved, like, your kids create trauma over literally nothing. Like, if you don't love them the way that they need to be shown love, then they're like, oh, you didn't love me, but whole reality of the situation was that they didn't understand that. And I don't want to go through that whole cycle. Like, that whole cycle is just not it for me. And I think people who have kids or who want kids usually want kids because they want something to unconditionally love them. versus they're like, oh, you don't know love until you have a kid. And I think you didn't know love until you had a kid. And that's where you're getting this idea that, oh, you're never going to understand love until you have a kid. Because honestly, I feel like that about my cat. And I feel that way about my little sister. And I feel that way about my nephews. Like, if something happened to them, I would be destroyed. Like, destroyed. Like, saying that right now makes my throat hurt because it chokes me up to think about that. Like, I'd never want that to happen. And for another human being to be like, why don't you want kids? You don't know love until you have a kid. Bullshit. 100% bullshit. I think you have never been close enough to another person or allowed yourself to open up your heart enough to another person to feel the way that they feel and to be really involved with them enough to know what love is. I don't think you need a kid to know what love is. And yeah, I get it. Parents have like a really deep rooted connection, especially if it's inside of you. Like, I get that that's a really huge thing for, moms and stuff. But I feel like that now. Like, I feel like my nephews came out of me. Like, I tell them all the time, I'm like, oh, your mom's just adopted you just because, I'm too young to have a kid. And like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I just like gave you to them. And we always joke about that all the time. Like, one of my nephews, I'm like, that's my kid. I'm like, I go up to my sister. My sister's name is Wendy. And I'm like, Wendy, I want my kid back. Like, I'll trade you. I'll trade you my little sister for this one. and I talk about that all the time. I'm like, nah, you came out of me. So don't talk back to me because I don't want to hear it. Like, every time that he's giving me grief or if he's trying to be funny and I don't like what he's saying, I'm like, you came out of me. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear no back talk because I am your mother. And so basically, I'm going to end this. And, obviously I ramble way too much. So, like, I need to end this. But basically, this week went really well. I had a lot of pivotal moments in my way of thinking, in my way of like expressing, in my way of understanding other people. And excuse me, no shade, absolutely no shade to moms or people who truthfully believe that you don't know love until you have a kid, because I get that that's your perspective. And maybe it is the case that you don't know love even though you think you know love, because like I could be like, oh, I know what love is, and then later down the road I'm like, damn, I really didn't know what love is. So no shade to moms, because they could absolutely be telling the truth, and I feel like to their side of the plot, like, they are. But at where I sit right now, I feel like I know love. Like, it's not something super duper deep to me right now, although it is deep, like, it cuts deep. So anyways, I just wanted to add that because, like, I love parents and I love their kids, but I myself, don't come after me if I don't want kids, because what the fuck did I do to you? Okay? I didn't do shit to you. Leave me alone. I don't want kids. Don't judge me for that. So, or judge me, it really doesn't matter. But anyways, moral of the week, I had a lot of positive pivotal moments in my way of thinking, and I've also gotten to a point where, like, I'm less hard on myself for all the mistakes that I've made up until this point, because if I didn't make those mistakes, I wouldn't be here and I wouldn't have sorted out through the things that I love and the things that I want to take action on. And I feel like the universe is constantly talking to you through everything, every single avenue of your life. And I feel like this is not that this is like super duper exciting to like film and edit, because I'm fucking lazy. Like, I'm like, oh, I gotta go edit. But at the same time, once I'm done and it goes up and I get like a view, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I did it. Somebody looked at it. That's awesome. And it's not even like, it's not even that deep. But to me, it feels that deep. I feel like through this positive challenge, through the first week of this positive challenge that I had, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's obviously in the first episode of this year. So I should have said that. My bad. It's already too late. But anyway, so basically, being positive opens your mind to being able to think differently, to solve problems differently, to deal with situations differently than you would normally do. And I think it helps you to respond rather than to react. And I think that that's really huge, especially for me, And I think that overall this week went really well. I didn't have any like hard crashes. There was never a moment where I was like, oh, why am I being, positive if my life is in shambles? Like, there was never a moment where I was like, everything is crumbling before me. I'm gonna die. Like, I never had that moment where I was like, oh, this place is bullshit. Like, I never had that. There was moments where I was like, I'm kind of bored. But then I was like, we're gonna do something that makes me feel good. Or that will make me feel proud of myself. Like this year, I want to read as many books as I can, and I've already read one book, and that's way more than I can say about last year. Last year, I didn't read any books, or at least, well, that's a lie. I finished the Karma book, but that took me like basically the whole year to finish because I procrastinate, especially in reading, and I'm already like 3 or 4 pages into the next book that I'm about to read right now. So, or that I'm about to finish this month. So, overall, I feel really proud of myself because I'm doing the thing, and I feel more positive just because you know what, life is not that serious, and I'd rather go out in a positive note than a fucking negative note. Like if I were to get hit by a flying car right now, at least I'd be positive about it. So, anyways, thanks for tuning in and tapping in. I upload Mondays and Fridays, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. And if spirituality, psychology, self-help, self-love, advice is something that you're interested in, I'd recommend subbing or following whatever platform you're on. I have an audio version of this that goes up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you can find podcasts, basically. And I have a video version of this that you can find on YouTube. So if those things are something you're interested in, you should go check either of those out, whichever one is more convenient for you. So, with that being said, thanks for tuning in and tapping in. I hope that you have a good day, good night, whenever you're listening, whenever you're watching. And take everything that I say with a grain of salt. Everything. Because I'm not in your life, I'm not in your shoes, and I can't be there to, like, you know, mitigate whatever you're feeling, whatever you're experiencing. And always do your own research. You're your own person. I believe in your ability to be your unique self. So, with that being said, thanks for tuning in and tapping in. I appreciate you, my babies, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.